I think those two guys complement each other really well. Obviously, you got a thunder and lightning with both of them. You'd anticipate, Berger being the thunder, but it's more Broussard. His pad level's been phenomenal. He's been running behind his pass, keeping his feet moving on contact. I think he's kind of getting back into the groove he had, before he left Colorado. Same thing with Jalen. In the spring, Jalen, came along really well. Toward the end of the spring, we were able to see him, get back to the old Jalen Berger that we knew was in there from Wisconsin. And, right now these guys have been consistent every day in practice. They understand football. They've obviously played a lot of football before. But, just the way they complement one another, the way they work hard and, attack each day, I think those two will, be really good for us this year. It's more situational. Harold does a phenomenal job on, third down, and he understands our scheme a lot. So, for him, when teams have tendencies, and we know that, third and medium and long, or, second and long, they have heavy blitz tendencies. And I like to get him out there, not, just because I think he's the only one who could do it, but I trust him, and obviously it's a role for him to get on the field as well. As far as Eli goes, Eli's probably one of the best kids I've ever been around. He does a great job of, supporting his teammates, and he earned everything that he got last week, and I hope to get him in there a little bit more as the year progresses. But, it's more so Phil. Obviously, we want to ride 8 and 3 as much as we can, but I'm completely comfortable with Eli going in there and running the football for us as well. It was about, I'd say, week 3 of spring ball, where obviously he hadn't played football in a year. And if anyone can tell you who's played the game, it's hard to go out there and cut and get tackled when you hadn't done it in a long time. So as he started to get his groove back, about week 3 of spring football, you start to see him make people miss, put his foot in the ground, change directions, be more patient, more fluid in the run game, and kind of understand and settle down. And obviously this summer as well, growing and working with the guys, they got to see him. When he left for, I think, the May break, he came back 213 pounds. So he went home and obviously put work in. And I think the team appreciated that as well. So all summer, he was working hard and, gaining the team's respect. And fall camp he came and, he took off, and I think he was really locked in and focused. And he understood everything, obviously the playbook, and as well as, got to know the team and the staff as well. So midway through spring ball, I think was the time I kind of noticed it. I'm grateful, as always. It's been obviously, you put more pressure on yourself because obviously expectations for yourself are high. But obviously, I feel like I've worked hard, and my whole thing right now is I want to have this room be as productive as possible. Work as hard as possible, play as hard as possible, and be as physical and put a good product on the field. So the experience has been phenomenal. I'm grateful. I'm happy, and I'm excited to go out there every day and practice. Game day is the same thing. It's a blessing to be able to stand on the sideline and kind of be the guy in charge, I guess you could say. Last year I think everyone knew that Nine was the best player on the field at all times. This year, for us, obviously with the first 2 games, for me it's been kind of filling those guys out. Who has the hot hand, who's kind of running harder, who's kind of filling the zone a little bit better. But I think the dynamic of it is everyone has to work while they wait this year. You never know who you're going to need and who's going to be out there running the football. Last year we knew Nine was going to throw the football 30 times if we needed to. And, this time, we got guys we could plug at wide receiver, line them up in different spots. And I think that's the biggest difference. We have more guys who could do a lot more things. Relative to last year, they could do it, but, Nine was such a different player. It's hard to take a Heisman Trophy candidate off the field. It's just hard. It was, great. Obviously, we didn't expect that to happen. You go in there hoping for good production, and, those 2 guys, they did a great job of, getting in and, doing a great job in pass protection, great job of, finishing runs, finishing on top, as Coach Tucker would say. So you get down there in the red zone and you get to, third and short. Obviously, me as a running back coach and a former running back, being selfish, I want the ball in our hands. The last thing I want to do is throw the ball on the goal line. The best feeling is when everyone in the stadium knows you're going to run it and you still run it and score. I think we did that this past week, and I'm proud of them. And hopefully, as we go forward, we can continue that. It's based on scheme. Certain guys run certain plays better. Obviously, the zone game, I think both guys do a great job at that. But if we're running any kind of duo or anything like that, it's kind of feel of who's at the better week of practice at it, who understands the scheme a little bit more that week, because obviously it changes week to week. Different teams run different schemes and different formations, so you got to be able to adjust your blocking schemes as well, and certain guys feel it a little different than others. And for me, it's, I'm kind of observant all week of who's been running it and who's been having the most success, so that's who I kind of trust in that situation. When we were in fall camp, he was kind of pressing a little. He felt he had to be perfect because he hadn't played ball in a while, and we kind of had to bring him back in and get his confidence going a little bit. So that second scrimmage that we had in fall camp is when he had a really good day that day, and you kind of saw everything that you saw on tape when he was coming from Colorado. You saw him make people miss. You saw him catch the ball really well out of the backfield. We saw him go ahead and run behind his pads and finish runs on top. Everything that you want the production to be from last year, he showed us that second scrimmage at camp. And obviously, the game week approach, and guys got healthier, and you got the whole team back. And that week, his focus was completely different. You saw him turn it on like, okay, it's showtime. And the first 2 games, I think he's gotten better and better each week. And hopefully, this week he takes that next step forward as well. I believe just coming to work every day. You do a great job, and Coach Chuck's thing is recruiting. So for me, I try to recruit every day, whether it's my own room or put the best product on the field for Michigan State. Recruit with the purpose relentlessly, and that's the main thing that I think Coach Tucker really liked about what I presented. And obviously, Coach Johnson knew that I played the position for him and the type of player I was when I was with him as well. I was a team captain and quite a leader on our team, so he saw that, and he still saw that in me today. And he knows I know the scheme, know his playbook, because obviously I played in it. I think that was a major trust factor for him, and he was completely comfortable with it. Absolutely, you play 2 solid teams, obviously who we were favored to win the first 2 games, and you go and you play a team like Washington, who's always well known for playing tough, playing physical, but Michigan State's known for playing tough and physical as well. So it does present an opportunity as a statement game for us to go out there and put a product on the field in front of on national television that we could make some noise this year. And I think we're practicing that way. Today was a great practice, so I think we'll continue to work that way. And Saturday we'll go out there and put our best foot forward. He did. It was tough because both guys were put in situations where they didn't have access to much except for school. But I was meeting with Jarek time and time again and making sure I was talking to him every day. Hey man, go get your workout in. And he did a great job. He's an older guy who's been around a lot of ball and played a lot of ball, so he kind of understood the work he had to put in, and he did a great job of taking care of his body as well. The rust factor, it took a couple weeks for him to get back in the groove. And this summer, Coach Novak did a phenomenal job of understanding that and kind of taking him step by step and brick by brick and building him back up to where he was. And I still think he has room and potential to grow even more. It's just going to be a week by week thing, and I think as this time goes and the season goes on, you'll see both guys kind of get better and better as we go. Yeah, for him, obviously the play broke down a little early, but he did a great job making 2 people miss. But I'm a big believer in getting the ball up the field. As soon as you relieve yourself from traffic, I still think we could have got it if he would have just got vertical immediately. The conversation was simple. 4th and 1, I don't care what happens, we got to go get the job done. I don't care if they don't block us, so we got to go get it. And he understood that. So next time, I think if that situation presents itself, he'll go get it. You try to keep it as basic as possible. Just footwork and alignment, assignment. What key am I reading? And just the technique and finish. You don't really try to get into details about it. We try to keep it simple when we do stuff like that because it's something they don't do every day. So you just try to be as simple. Tell them the footwork and what he's reading and go get it done. You don't need him to do anything spectacular. Just basics. They're very, very solid on defense. I think their front seven's a pretty good front seven. They're very stout up front. They do a good job of fitting the run up really well. Their defense, their DBs actually do a good job in coverage and coming to play and tackle as well. So for us, it's all about us doing our job and getting on our point of attacks and doing a good job with our read keys. And I'm completely confident up front. They'll do their job. We just have to do our job of being productive and protecting the football and getting up the field. I think we'll be fine, though. It'll be a good matchup. It's a challenge for sure, but we'll be ready when the time comes. More patience, Both guys do a great job of, getting on their points and, hitting the hole. But at the same time, there's certain instances where we left a lot of yards on the field the first 2 games of missed opportunities trying to speed stuff up. We always talk about being slow to and fast through. Good tempo with my footwork. When you see it, you got to hit it. But obviously with all the double teams, you got to let those guys work up front as well. I think at times we could be a little more patient. Because you go back and watch the tape, first play of the game, I think Jalen could have been a house call if he was a little more patient. You go back and look at 2 of Jarek's runs as well, a little more patient. Might have been 60-yard gains. So it's about getting on the keys, trusting it, staying on track until something takes me off with the patience and just the trust factor, which is hard for every running back. You see something, you want to react to it immediately, but you got to understand how the play is being blocked as well. And that's what I'm trying to get those guys to understand, how it's being blocked, where my double teams are happening, where my eyes should be. And, once we get going and, get more time at it, I think they'll be fine.